What's up, everybody? It's me, Chris, here to talk about the fights that went down last night and maybe a couple other things real quick if I have a chance. First off, real quick, I wanted to recommend you guys to a couple other subscribers or guys that I'm subscribed to, and also subscribe to me. Their pages are called Grindshine and the Dirty White Boy. Grindshine's he's new to the boxing community on here, but he does a lot of videos for he's done a lot of videos so far. And I'll probably put links up for their pages over here on the side so you could check them out. And the Dirty White Boy, that's one word. He does wrestling, pro wrestling, MMA, and boxing videos. He's a younger guy, but his boxing stuff's really good. He's really good on the boxing analysis. You know, he had a real good breakdown for this Marquez Diaz fight. So I recommend checking both those guys out if you guys could get a chance. Anyways, on to the fights. Last night, real quick, first up, for the WBA featherweight belt, we had the Rocky Juarez versus Chris John. I had some people already emailing me last night, asking me about this fight, what I thought of the decision. I thought the decision was way off. You know, I'd mentioned in my predictions video that I thought that we had to be worried about the hometown judges, particularly in this bout, just because Chris John was coming over. This was his first time fighting in America, I believe. And I'd never seen him fight before, so I wasn't for sure how his style would play to the judges here, especially in Rocky Juarez's hometown. And apparently it did go over as well as it should have. You know, I had the fight scored the same as Harold Letterman, HBO's unofficial score. I had it 8-4, 116-112. Juarez had a couple spots early, a couple rounds. He was really aggressive, landed some good shots. But the middle rounds, Chris John swept. I mean, he really put on a boxing clinic. Landed a lot of shots. He had Juarez's eyes swelled up. He was just outboxing him from the outside. Whenever Juarez would get inside, or whenever John felt he was getting pressured, he'd kind of tie him up, you know, and get it back to a boxing match. I really liked John. I'd never seen him fight before. I said he had some really good, accurate punches, long range. You know, he was landing the 1-2 all night, as his cornerman told him. You know, really effectively, a lot of effective movement. He didn't do as well when Rocky would get him on the ropes. And he did get caught with quite a few flush shots here and there, but I never really saw him stunned until the 11th round. Come the 11th round, Rocky really, credit to Rocky Juarez, because he was getting whooped, not whooped, but he was taking a substantial, a lot of hits throughout the mid-rounds, as I said. But come the 11th round, he really turned it on, knew that he had to probably get a KO or a knockdown to win the fight, and he really hurt Chris John at the end of the 11th round. But John, fortunately for John, when he really hurt him, it was at the end of the round. So John was able to, bell rang, got to the corner, had enough time to recuperate. Rocky looked to be the stronger fighter in the 12th as well. But John still boxed. He was effective in that round. I'm not sure if I gave him that round or not, but either way, I thought he definitively won the fight. I mean, he just won more rounds of the fight. He controlled more of the fight. But unfortunately, the judges didn't see it that way. They scored it a draw. Interestingly enough, Harold Letterman noted that was the first time he can recall in a long time, I believe, that all three judges had the same exact scorecard. So, I don't know, take that for what it's worth. But I don't know what fight they were watching, At best, I would have had it 7 rounds to 5, but I just couldn't see giving Rocky Juarez 6 rounds. I'm sorry, those middle rounds, he just wasn't doing enough. The only thing I could think is, maybe the judges were going for the aggressor, the guy who was pushing the fight, being more aggressive, but he wasn't doing it effectively. He was getting countered, and you could tell by the looks, you could tell by their faces. Granted, you can't always tell who won a fight by the damage done to them physically on their face, but it was pretty obvious for anyone watching this fight that Chris John clearly won that fight, in my opinion. And, I don't even think it deserves a rematch, to be honest. I think that John would probably win the same fight. Maybe not in the same manner, but I would predict him to win again if they fought again. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where Chris John goes from here. Who's to say if he wants to come back in America after this, this kind of a decision. But the good thing is for his fans and for himself is that he didn't lose the belt. So with the draw, regardless, at least he retains his title. The only name I really see in his division that I want to see him against, there's not really a lot of names at featherweight that I'm really, too up on. But maybe down the line against a Yuriorkis Gamboa. I think that'd be a really good fight. I don't know how Gamboa would do against him. Depends on where they fought. Depends on how many more fights before Gamboa took that fight. But that's a fight I hope to see down the line. Anyways, next up we got the lightweight title fight against Juan Manuel Marquez against Juan Diaz. I picked Diaz to win this fight. Picked him to win a decision. I thought his youth, his aggression, and his his volume, punching volume, to win a fight. Decision, close. Early on, it looked like that might be the case. He really stormed out from the get-go, really put it on Marquez. Hurt Marquez late in the round, late in the first round with the left hook, huge left hook. I was surprised that Marquez got hurt by it because Juan Diaz isn't known as much of a power puncher, and Marquez, he's shown a pretty good chin. He's been dropped before by Manny Pacquiao, but I mean, Manny Pacquiao is an explosive puncher. But instead of tying up, I really liked Marquez, just kept firing back. Like I said, got out of the round. Second round came on, and pretty much more of the same. Juan Diaz was being really effective in making them fight his fight. But Marquez, he was fighting Diaz's fight, but he was fighting effectively as well. He wasn't as effective in the first couple of rounds as Diaz was, but he was kind of finding his spots, I think, really, looking for spots to place his punches in between Diaz's aggression. And that's what he seemed to do throughout the fight once he started, really establishing himself. What surprised me was that he was able to keep up with Diaz's pace. Marquez, only his second fight, I believe, at lightweight, 35 years old, as the announcers mentioned, has a lot of fights. The fact that he was able to keep up with Juan Diaz's pace was really quite astonishing, and really just showed awesome, championship, why he's such a great fighter, why he's so high pound for pound and whatnot. But anyways, back to the fight itself. Diaz was really effective when he would get him to the ropes. It seemed like whenever Marquez had his back to the ropes, he would counter effectively, but it was more so playing into Diaz's game plan. But whenever they got in the center of the ring, Marquez was really picking him apart. As the rounds went on, he was really placing his punches well, really effective. He started working more to the body and head come mid-rounds, which was, I thought, really effective. He didn't get rattled at all when he got cut. And when he did get cut initially, I think they were trying to say it was a headbutt Marquez's corner, which it wasn't. But it never really, bothered Marquez throughout the fight, where you could tell. When Marquez later cut Diaz on the eye, you could see Diaz was clearly befuddled by it. It was really rattled by it. Not so much that he was hurt, but if anyone saw the Nate Campbell fight where he was really discouraged after getting cut and they really let that bother him, once Juan Diaz went back in the corner after being cut in the eye, his expression really changed. He just didn't look as focused. He didn't look as confident. And from that point on, I think Marquez could really sense that as well, and he really picked up the pace, really turned it on, and really just took over the fight from there on, Started working, mixing in awesome uppercuts, which were really effective punches. Like I said, was mixing in some great body work, just a lot of effective mixing up his punches, pinpoint punches, as Emmanuel Stewart pointed out, really precise. Seemed like everything he landed was more effective mid to late rounds than what Diaz was landing. Just seemed to have more on it, was having more of an effect on Diaz than the punches that Diaz were landing on Marquez. And come the ninth round, caught Juan Diaz with a huge right, really stunned him. A few more punches after that, which were really just pinpoint accurate shots. Diaz went down. He got up, but you could tell he was really hurt. Marquez just jumped all over him. Once again, landed really accurate shots. Diaz went to lean down to duck a shot, and Marquez timed him perfectly with the right uppercut. Just perfect punch. I mean, just a beautiful knockout. All the fans in attendance, I think, applauded Marquez for such an awesome, fight. It was a great fight. Also, let me mention that off. Awesome fight from the first round on to the end of the fight in the ninth. Just an absolutely awesome fight. Really not only lived up to the hype, but it exceeded the hype in my opinion. As far as what these guys should do next, I think Juan Diaz should take some time off. He's busy with school too, and I think he should take some time off. Maybe when he comes back, fight a guy like David Diaz if he's still going to fight, or Edner Cherry. I think those would be good fights for him, to get him back on track. As for Marquez, he said Pacquiao doesn't want to fight him. I don't know if that's the case or not. I'd like to see him get the winner Pacquiao-Hatton, even if it's at junior welterweight. I'm sure he doesn't have a problem going there. If not, he called out Mayweather. Mayweather's retired, but I don't see Mayweather taking that fight. But if he did, I think I'd probably pick Mayweather to win, to be honest. I'd actually like to see Marquez fight Joan Guzman next. I think that'd be a really awesome fight. Different styles, great boxers. I just think it'd be a really awesome fight at 135. It's a fight I'd really like to see. Whether it happens or not, I don't know, but it's one I'd like to see. So, also on Friday night, Tomasz Adamek beat Jonathan Banks. Not the most exciting fight, to be honest. Adamek got an 8th round TKO. Awesome finish, though. Really starched Banks when he caught him and hurt him in the 8th round. But up to that point, it wasn't the most exciting fight. But Adamek looked good. Juarez, he said after the fight, he was thinking about possibly moving up to heavyweight. I also heard that Bernard Hopkins possibly might want to challenge him at cruiserweight. Not sure if that's going to happen or not, but Adamek has looked really good his last couple fights, so I'm interested in seeing him fight next. He always puts on good fights, and when they fight in New Jersey, there's always a lot of fans for him, and it makes for a really good atmosphere. So, anyways, that's it for now, guys. Till next time, I'm out of here. Bye.